Action at Org podcast coming your way. Stevesmi here and Rick in the house. What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's up, Steve? What's up, guys? How's everybody doing out there?
All right, guys. So this is number 353, a Q&A coming your way. We are recording, right, Rick?
It looks like it, yeah. It's just start recording. It looks
like
it.
I just want to make sure. All right, guys, because I'm not seeing recording on it. Okay, now I see recording. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Okay, so keep going. All right, guys. Yeah, so guys, this is like I said, 353 Q&A episodes. So let's get right to it. We have 5 fun topics, guys. First one is, do I really need an AI on steroids and aromatase inhibitor? So first off, before you can answer this question, you got to know what you're running, how much you're running, and you got to know your history. I highly recommend getting blood work before cycle. Frankly, in my opinion, it's mandatory. When I do consultations with people, I make people get blood work. I'm like, look, I'll do the consultation with them, but I tell them clearly at the end, look, before you start the steroids cycle, you got to run blood work. You got to know where you're at. What happens if your estrogen is elevated before you even go on cycle? Then you go on cycle, it's even more elevated, and you can't bring it down the way you want to bring it down. Well, if you have pre-cycle blood work, you can flag anything that's going on with your estrogen levels and correct it beforehand, and you'll know down the line. And then when you come off, you'll also know that you may be more prone to higher estrogen than normal people. So that's step 1, blood work. Step 2 is, what are you running? If you're running something that aromatizes, what's your dosage? Are you running a TRT dose of testosterone on your cycle with something dry like Primo, for example? Then you're not going to need an AI. You won't, unless the Primo is really testosterone. You're getting fake product. But if you run a proper TRT dose of 100 milligrams a week, you won't need it. But if you're running 300 milligrams a week of testosterone with the Primo, then sure, I would run it. So anything above a TRT dose of testosterone, you probably want to use an AI because you want to control your estrogen. But you don't want to slam your estrogen. You get estrogen too low, that's not good either. And a lot of you guys who listen to this podcast already know that. A lot of you listen to the podcast, you've talked about this before. But it needs to be said, Rick, over and over, because guys continue to make the mistake and they come on the forum and they complain about issues. The problem is, if you slam your estrogen too low, you're going to get side effects. You're going to get depression, mood changes, dry joints. Not good. But if you let your estrogen go sky high, you may also need to be fitted for a bra because you're going to open yourself up to gynecomastia bitch tits, right? So you got to balance it. I always tell my clients, you want to keep your estrogen in the 20s when you're on a cycle. Got to keep it balanced. So that synergy of an AI is going to be dependent on what you're using, how much you're using, and then also using the proper amount of aromatase inhibitor. My recommendation for an AI is Aromasin. If you can't get Aromasin, then get Arimidex. But I wouldn't use Letro. Absolutely not. Some of the old school guys, Rick, from the 90s, I'm sure back in your day when you first got on the forums, they would recommend Letro. Why would they recommend Letro? Because Letro was one of the first AIs available. Back then, Aromasin didn't even exist. So, of course, they're going to recommend what they think is right, and they're still going to recommend that because they haven't bothered to update the information. So that's why you see guys recommend Letro. You see doctors recommend Arimidex. They'll prescribe you Arimidex. Why? Because they don't know about Aromasin. Doctors, they don't keep up with this stuff. They don't modernize their information. But the modern AI is Aromasin. It's a suicide aromatase inhibitor. So that's the one I recommend. So you should get that. That's the number one you should get, and you should balance your estrogen, not low and not too high. I hope that answers the question. Rick, what do you think about this topic?
You have to go by feel, how you feel. You have to go by your blood tests. And you also need to understand that estrogen is necessary for anabolism. Estrogen is necessary in order for you to build muscle. Estrogen is necessary for other bodily processes. So you can't just crush it and think you're going to be okay. You can't just get rid of estrogen and think you're going to be fine somehow. It doesn't work that way. You want to make sure to look, if you're taking Dianabol, you'd want your estrogen to get a little bit high. So you get a little bit of that bloating, which helps you increase that strength, which helps you increase that mass, which really helps you get the Dianabol experience out of it. We've said this on the podcast before. So do I need to take an aromatase inhibitor during cycle? That depends. Depends how you're feeling, depends how you're reacting to it, and it depends what your goals are. If you are bulking, big bulking, strength gaining cycle, Dianabol, uh, high levels of testosterone, maybe you want to let the estrogen ride out a little bit, and you want to maybe take some Novodex to just block it at the receptor sites in your nipples so you don't get gynecomastia. But let some of the bloating and some of the higher estrogen levels and water retention, let that go a little bit. Let that go in and benefit you a little bit, right? Look, the whole science behind creatine and how that helps you, how creatine works is it increases water retention inside of the muscle. So it's not a bad thing to have a little bit of water retention. It helps a lot, not just while you're lifting, but it helps with recovery. I feel like when I'm a little bit tiny bloated from something like Dianabol, a little bit of a extra water retention, I feel like the acid leaves my muscles quicker during the set, after a set. It's just a feeling I get of just how much faster my muscles stop burning and are ready for the next set. You want to ride the estrogen wave depending on what your goals are. Gaining weight, going up in weight, don't worry about it too much. Let it bloat you a little bit. Take something to block it at the receptor sites. If you're cutting down, you're trying to get ready for a show, a photo shoot, a family vacation, I don't know, whatever it is. And yeah, cutting cycle, caloric deficit, and keep estrogen manageable to a low degree. If you need blood work, make sure to get up with Steve, and Steve will take care of you and the blood work, and make sure that you have appropriate estrogen levels. So that's my whole thing on it. Is depends what your goals are, and you have to really play it by ear. But no, estrogen is not evil. Don't crush it. It can be utilized towards your goals. You just have to know what your goals truly are and adjust accordingly.
All right, so our next topic is injectable orals. We've never talked about this on the podcast ever. So this is a good one to talk about. We're seeing a lot of sources, underground labs that have popped up over the past, I'd say 6 years. They just popped up out of nowhere. Guys making their own steroids out of their toilet, out of their bathtub, call it bathtub gear. They'll basically import a bunch of raws from China or India or whatever, and then make their own gear at home. And then, hey, I'm in business. And then they'll start selling it to people at gyms, selling it to people online, etc. That's kind of gone away, though, recently, because they're finding out, like, these underground labs aren't really good with their quality of gear. So they don't really stay in business long. But, a lot of them are coming up with injectable orals. I've noticed injectable D-bol. Some guy on the forum was asking about injectable Superdrol, which I've never heard of. There's injectable Anavar. There's injectable Winstrol, which has been around a long time, obviously. And that's one that is more in the mainstay of you see legitimate sources actually selling injectable Winstrol. So what's the difference between an injectable oral and an oral, just a plain oral steroid that's, the same form? So at the end of the day, it depends on the quality of the source. I'd have no issues using injectable D-bol or the oral D-bol as long as the quality is the same. So, but obviously guys would rather take the oral version, of course. You don't want to have to inject every day, do you? Isn't it easier just to pop a pill every day? So Rick, you can get into the more, science behind injectable orals and your opinion on it. Back in the day, in your day, guys, they wouldn't use these injectable steroids a lot, injectable orals. They'd prefer just taking D-bol, as in tablets, right? Or Superdrol, same thing with Superdrol. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the only real benefit over injecting an oral is the slower release. You find this with Winstrol. Winstrol came in both forms. The exact same methylated hormone came in an injectable form, and it came in an oral form. Oh man. So, what the way that it works pretty much is this, man. When you take the Winstrol or the Anavar, whatever a methylated oral hormone you have, it goes right through your system. It goes through your digestive system, which is just evolved to take stuff in and push it right out. Stuff comes in, whatever can and should escapes the gut and goes into our blood system to be into the body. Whatever it's not supposed to, it'll just come right out. Tube within a tube. You know, we're this is the way it works. So when you take it orally, you do have to, and you should have to dose Winstrol, Anavar. Take it a couple of times, maybe 3-4 times a day, in order to keep pretty steady levels. Now, when you take that same hormone and you place it in a depot inside of the muscle's kind of not evolved or ready to take some foreign object that was placed in the middle of it and somehow make use of it right away. I'm talking about water-based Winstrol or water-based steroids. When you inject the water-based steroid into your muscle cell, the water leaves very quickly. Water dissipates very quickly, as opposed to oil, which will last there way longer. But water will dissipate pretty quickly, leaving the crystalline hormone there, leaving just the crystallized hormones there. And then off of that depot, just over hours and hours and hours and hours, maybe a full day, your body will begin to dissipate that crystalline depot. It'll begin to break it down, and you'll get a bit of a slow release situation. This is why some guys used to shoot Winstrol every other day when you had the Winstrol shots, because you were pretty sure that 24 hours after you shot, you might still have some crystallized hormone in the muscle that's still slow releasing. That's probably the only real benefit I see to it, because eventually it's going to pass through your liver from your blood system. Like everything else that's in your blood will pass through the liver, and it's going to do the damage in the liver anyway. So really the only benefit I see is the slow release off of the depot. You might be able to shoot just once a day, and it's great. And maybe if you have digestive issues, maybe if you're having some digestion problems, or you think that you're not taking in, your body's not taking in all of your hormone, then it'll help not waste some of that hormone being excreted right out of the body. It's the only thing I could think of. Besides that, I don't see really much benefit in taking an injectable that you could take orally. Not at all. As a matter of fact, one of the number one questions on the forums for years, and every month there'd be a new guy coming in to ask it, was, can I drink the Winstrol? Because back then it was actually cheaper to buy the same milligrams of Winstrol in a liquid form, injectable, than it was to get the tablets. It was about 10 to 20% cheaper to get that same gram of Winstrol in 2 vials of 50 mgs per 10 milliliters. And that was cheaper than getting a couple hundred tablets. Money savings, and sometimes availability. So guys would want to drink the Winstrol, just measure it out with a syringe and shoot it right in the mouth and not have to put a needle in their body. So you could even do some of that too. But
you like to get it shot. That's you like to shoot it in your mouth. Is that the way you like it?
The opportunistic jokes, man. Like that shit. Yeah. All right, let's keep it going. Buddy. I'll get you back.
You like the taste, huh? All right, guys. So the third one we're going to talk about is prostate red flags on cycle. Speaking of that, Rick, we had to segue right into this, right? From that topic. Shooting in your mouth.
Yeah.
Right? So, guys, so I went to the doctor. I was like, man, I was like, look, my prostate, like something wrong with my prostate. I feel like a lump. Can you check my prostate? This is like fat, like obese lady who's a doctor. I couldn't believe this lady was a doctor. So she basically like says to me to bend over. So I bend over. She sticks her freaking finger up my ass and she like moves it around and then she pulls it out and she takes the glove off and she puts it in the trash. She gives me a tissue. So I take the tissue and I blow my nose with it. I'm like, why is she giving me a tissue? But she was actually, I didn't know what the fuck she was doing. But I asked her to check my prostate and she stuck her finger on my ass. So I'm like, what the hell is this? But apparently that's how they check it. So if you've never gotten the finger up your ass, you need to. That's the way to check for the prostate. So if they notice anything, they'll flag it and then you'll go for further tests. So as men, we gotta do the finger up the ass. Really yearly, right, Rick? I mean, if you don't do it, you're gonna run the risk. Prostate cancer is a serious thing. If you use steroids, your increased chance of getting prostate cancer, right, Rick? I mean, steroids, they add inflammation to the body. So it's very, very important to keep an eye on your prostate health, guys. And at the end of the day, some of the red flags, I mean, if you got problems urinating, if you're, something like that, it could be a urinary tract infection, but those aren't really common with men. But a lot of times it's just your prostate got inflamed. So a lot of guys want to know, how do I, reduce my prostate? My advice is you have to come off steroids. I mean, all this, it's like we want to take something. Oh, I want to take something. They want to take like cranberry juice or something. Well, if you buy cranberry juice at the store, Rick, less than 1% of that cranberry juice is actually cranberry juice. It's like 50% sugar, 40% some other juice. So that's not going to help you. So certain supplements can help with the prostate, yes. But at the end of the day, I mean, you got to do what you don't want to do, which is come off steroids for a foreseeable amount of time. And then that gives your prostate a chance to deflate back down. And that's what you got to do. Because, gosh, I mean, there's a really good chance of men. I think I read something, Rick, 50% of men before the age of 55 will get prostate cancer. So that's pretty scary. And we've got already millions of cells in our prostate just waiting for a reason to blow up. So it's something we really have to watch. And you can get prostate cancer even in your 20s. So it's not something you want to, joke around with.
I have my prostate does get tight from anabolic use, and I've been to the doc when it's tight, and he wants to put me on medication, the steroid, and all these things, and then I'll say, you know what, come back in a couple of months. I'll get off the sauce and use natural products to maintain. Come back in, prostate is feeling mushy again. So I know, me personally, steroids tighten my prostate up. I also cycle quite a bit. I like mountain biking, and that beats up your prostate quite a bit. My grandfather on my mother's side of the family has takes medication for his prostate. So it's something I'm conscious of. It's one of my fears from having been doing steroids since I was very, very young, since I was in my 20s. And yeah, it's a concern. I'm going to go in for some more prostate exam probably here in the next couple of months. Let you guys know how it goes. But yeah, I've had both experiences, man. When I'm on the sauce, it'll tighten up my prostate. And it changes the way you urinate, changes the way you feel when you sit. When I sit on my bicycle, it creates a deep kind of sensation, very tender sensation. And yeah, if you go into the doctor and get checked while you're on steroids, chances are it's going to be tight. Chances are your prostate is going to be pretty tight. So you'd have to come in off of the steroids, off of the juice, and see how you're feeling.
I came across a video from Medellin, Colombia, where they were bicycling through like a obstacle course through the town. It was insane.
Yeah, downhill.
They were like literally like 1 foot away from going off the cliff, and like he was going downstairs, and there's like people standing along the trail. It was incredible. you made me think of that. But yeah, I can't believe like people do that. That's so crazy. Like literally 1 foot away, one wrong turn or something, you go over the cliff.
Yeah, yeah. A bicycle is like a prosthetic. It enhances your strength. It enhances human ability. And yeah, I mean, some hill that you wouldn't even be able to walk down those hills without breaking your ankles. If you got the appropriate bike, you can go that right down those hills, no problem, no problem at all. There's a Steve Jobs interview that I saw, and and he uh, he talked about an article he read where they actually graded, they ranked animals by how much they're able to move, and efficiently move. And at the top were like condors and stuff that can like hover using the heat waves that come off the Andes mountains. They just able to hover for hours and hours without even flapping their wings. They just glide over some of these currents. And at the very bottom were kind of humans, we're really not that efficient when it comes to far as movement. And then he says that in the article, somebody added in a human on a bicycle. And a human on a bicycle is actually more efficient at moving around than any other animal in the world. So yeah, on a bike, you can go up, downhill. It just multiplies your strength. You can travel miles and miles and miles on the same amount of calories that it would take you to just jog a mile. The bicycle will take you, and if you're going downhill like Steve's describing, oh man, it's nothing more fun than going downhill on a mountain bike, man. It's dangerous too, but it's just an incredibly fun, very fulfilling feeling to go downhill on a bike. It's incredible.
It's the cleanest, best pleasure. But he was going down stairs and like doing ramps and stuff. I don't know, it was insane.
It looks, when you see the videos, especially with those fisheye lenses, it looks a lot less manageable than it is. But once you're going downhill, believe it or not, you start to see everything in like slow motion. Oh man, the human brain is incredible. You see everything in slow motion, and you're able to make adjustments and calculations for the road that's in front of you, and make adjustments and calculations for the road 10 and 20 feet ahead, 30 feet ahead. You do all this math in your head real fast, and you adjust your balance. And it's actually, once you do it, it's actually quite easy. It's actually not that hard. It's kind of the same principle as riding a horse, riding a jet ski. You don't really sit on your seat. You're standing. You're on your feet basically, using your knees and your hips and your ankles as your shock absorbers. So you're not really sitting on the bike. Just like when you're doing jet skiing, you want to not really sit on the jet ski. If it's wavy, you want to bounce off. The same thing with a horse. You don't really want to sit on the saddle. You want to stand. You want to stand on your things that hold your feet. I don't know what they're called in English, but you want to stand and kind of, that's how you gallop. So it's the same thing with mountain biking. You just stay on your pedals and bounce off your pedals. Don't put your butt on the seat. And even though seeing those videos, it looks undoable. It looks like these guys have extreme skill. Nah, man, once you get on a bike, you start going downhill so easy, bro. It's nothing, dude. It's pretty easy.
All right, guys. So next one is clen. Speaking of that, clen obsolete. What are guys and gals using now for fat loss? So Rick, I'm bringing you in first. What's your opinion of this? Back in your day on the forums, back in the '90s, guys used clen a lot more than they do today. I'm not seeing very much clen use today. I'm working with clients at the high levels of bodybuilding, and they're not even using clen anymore. So what's your opinion of this? What do you think caused the change?
Bro, Clen, back in the day when I first got started researching and doing my first couple of cycles, circa 1999, 2000, 2001, 2002, Clenbuterol was used during PCT. Clenbuterol was used during PCT. Guys used to say, do Clen during your PCT because it's anti-catabolic, so you won't lose your muscle mass. It'll help you, quote unquote, solidify gains. It's going to clear out and clean out your androgen receptors. This is what guys used to say back in the day about clenbuterol. and it'll help you get rid of some of the bloating, some of the water retention from cycle. So clen was, guys used to use it after cycle during PCT back in the day. Not anymore. We know it's not that great of an anti-catabolic. You could probably use something like laxogenin, which is still over the counter, and use that Laxo as an anti-catabolic if that's what you're looking for. It should be just maybe probably better effective than Clenbuterol as an anti-catabolic. And as far as the stimulant and fat loss side effects of it, look, guys, there's already been about 3 different compounds that were available over the counter supplement industry and then got banned, either hard banned or soft banned by the FDA, that were already better than clen. You know, there's 3 out there that already came and went, that were better than clen, reached their peak, were used more than clen, and then the FDA banned them. Either right out ban, so you can't do this, you can't sell this anymore, or they soft ban it. Soft ban is where they just sent letters to everybody that's selling it saying we're not saying this is illegal, but we're saying you probably should not be selling it because it doesn't adhere to these rules, or because it's got this issue. You probably shouldn't be selling it. And then most brands just stop selling it. And then, you know, there's been a couple of out there. So no, Clenbuterol is passe, man. Clenbuterol is out of style. I don't see any really good, legitimate reason to use it. If you're using Clenbuterol, it's because you've got a coach and you're competing, and he tells you this is the way we do it. This is what we need to do to get you looking ripped and shredded. And here's a regimen, and here's what other compounds and supplements you need to take with it. And then maybe you might have a use for it. But if you're just kind of doing it on your own for fat loss, like you're a girl, guy, just ordering some clen, trying to just do it on your own, there's better options, man. Don't do any of that. Look, if you want good fat loss and good progress losing fat without the stimulant, buy my Entuslim product. And N as in Nancy, the number 2, Slin, SLIN.com. Go there. Go to Entuslim.com. That's my product. Non-stimulant. It'll help get rid of fat, and it will help build a little bit of mass too. If you're training, lifting weights, and you take it before each meal, the way I described, and it works through the insulin sensitivity pathway. It's not like a Clenbuterol, one of these other stimulants that's just hitting your nerves, hitting your central nervous system, shutting down your appetite because it's hitting your central nervous system so hard and just kind of make you wired up, which when it comes to stuff like clen or some of these other even over-the-counter stimulants, the main reason people find good results with them losing weight is because, one, it curbs their hunger while the effects are happening, and it gives them some additional energy boost, even if when they're on a caloric deficit. So this is why a lot of people use central nervous system stimulants as part of their fat loss regimen. But if you just kill the hunger through time-restricted feeding, fasting, you stop being fucking hungry all day. 2, you instead worked on insulin sensitivity and making sure that your thyroid is making proper amounts of the T hormones you need, and you focus on thyroid, maximizing thyroid output, and you focus on insulin sensitivity pathways, you'll get incredible fat burning results without taking any stimulants. And yeah, you don't have that crutch when you take like my Entuslin or my T3 PCT to optimize the thyroid and to make sure to have proper insulin sensitivity. When you take those two, you're going to have to deal with hunger on your own. You're going to have to deal with the energy drop from being in a caloric deficit on your own. You won't have a stimulant wiring you up, but you're still doing it safer. And it's more effective, in my opinion, guys. It's way more effective to diet with T3 PCT and Entuslin than without. So I think it's an obsolete way of doing things to just slam central nervous system stimulants in your body to kill appetite and to give you a little bit more energy when you're in a caloric deficit. I think just that practice alone should probably become passe, should be stinked, should be something we don't do anymore. That whole practice of balancing, just slamming stimulants into your body. as a way to lose weight. You know, I think just that in itself shouldn't be going on anymore. I think we understand the body enough now, and there are enough compounds with enough clinical data behind them to where we can really target fat loss, the source, the proper way of targeting fat loss, which is insulin sensitivity and your T hormones from your thyroid. If those two things being in order, man, let me tell you something. There are people that walk around with the proper insulin sensitivity and with their thyroid output being proper, and those are the guys we think got great genetics. They look ripped, they're veiny, they don't watch their diet as much, they don't even train that often, but they just look great. Genetics, this is just it. Their endocrine system, their hormones are just working optimized to keep them lean. That's all. So that's my whole thing on that, man. I think I'm anti a stim for fat loss as of right now.
So, I mean, I've used Clen a couple times. I think it's a nasty drug. The problem with Clen is to get the results on it that you're going to want, you've got to jack up the dose. So you can't just run it at 20 micrograms. You got to run it at 40, 60, 80, 100, 120 micrograms. Problem is when you jack it up that high, you start getting side effects, start shaking. You get really bad gut problems like heartburn. Feels like your heart's going to explode out of your body. A lot of people complain about insomnia. So really stupid. If you think it's an anti-catabolic drug, I don't see how it can be anti-catabolic when you can't even sleep on it. So that doesn't make any sense. But listen, it was some celebrities really popularized it. I think Britney Spears used it back in the day. A lot of people, a lot of celebrities talked about it. Most guys are going to run it, most girls and guys, and they're going to be like, this stuff is horrible. It's not worth it. It's going to kill your endurance. It's going to jack up your heart rate. Really bad. Really bad stuff, guys. So I'm not a fan of using it. I think that a couple ways to lose weight: fasting. Fasting is the secret weapon toward losing weight. And with fasting, you don't got to take anything to fast. That's the beauty part. Rick mentioned N2 before your meals. Let's say you fast the whole day, then you eat dinner. Well, before you eat that dinner, take the N2 30 minutes before. It's going to block fat from being stored. Beautiful, right? That's what we want. GW, Cardarine, we had a podcast about it. Go back and listen to it. It's sold out as a SARM. It's not a SARM. That's another one that you could use. So all three of those things, the GW, the N2 and fasting, those three are weapons, and those three aren't going to give you nasty side effects, and those three aren't going to screw up your cardio. They're not going to screw up your endurance, not going to screw up your heart health. So those are the three best ways to lose fat.
So I have a kind of a New Year's goal that I have. By New Year's, I want to be a really low single digit percentage body fat, because I want to do some photo shoots to keep some pictures for my social and stuff like that. So I'm going to be doing a nice long GW Cardarine cycle, along with just time restricted feeding, fasting, a little bit of androgens here and there. It's going to be a pretty light cycle. I'm just going to do it to get really ripped and veiny, and I want to be like that for New Year's. Funny, most people start trying to get in shape after New Year's, right? But I think a little differently. This is my lifestyle. So by New Year's, I want to be really tight for some good pictures that I want to take with some of the girls, some of the models that I work with. It's going to be really nice. There's going to be some Dan Bilzerian type of stuff I'm looking forward to doing. And so my main staple for this cutting cycle is going to be Cardarine, because it just helps burn fat. It's non-stimulant. It does give me additional energy without it being stimulant, without it stimulating my central nervous system. So I'm about to start using it. If you guys want to follow my cycle, want to ask me any questions, want to know where I get my shit from, whatever you guys want to ask, and follow me through the cycle until I get in incredible shape between now and New Year's rolling around. Please follow me. rickyvrock.com. That's RICKY, V as in victory, ROCK.com. And that'll send you right to my fan page. From there, you could find my social. You could personal friend me, and you'll see the process. I think GW is probably the best fat burning shedding compound right now. I love it because it's non-stimulant, and because the way it works, it's there during the moment that fat is being burned. It works incredibly. So if you're looking for fat loss and you want to and you want to try something that's not stimulant, I'm going to be doing GW. Come check it out. See how my cycle goes. But that's in my opinion right now is the best one. And we have a whole episode on GW in our podcast. Make sure you guys track back and go listen to it and get some good information for it. But yeah, please follow me. Please follow me and reach out. Let's have a talk. I get guys messaging me on Facebook with their questions every day. If you want a quick, short 10-minute, 15-minute phone consult to talk to me about what you're going through, what your stuff is like, I'll arrange that with you, no charge. I like talking to you guys. I like getting feedback from everybody that listens to this podcast. So make sure to reach out. I'm available for all you guys.
That's really sweet. I'm going to give you a call tonight around midnight, 1 a.m. for 15 minutes.
You got to stop doing that, Steve. You keep waking me up at night, man. I'm trying to get some rest, and you're like, oh,
no, I'm helping you sleep. You've been under a lot of stress lately, so I've been your therapist. I've been like,
let's not talk about all the stress I've been through lately, man. Shit's just when it rains, it pours a little bit, don't it? But good.
All right, guys. So our last topic, I'm gonna bring Rick in this quick because he has a family. Food shopping tips. I'm gonna tell you something. Food is one of the most expensive in your expenses in the budget when you're a bodybuilder, a weightlifter, a powerlifter, fitness, etc. I mean, we eat a lot of food. We eat a lot of healthy food. We eat a lot of good food, good quality food. So food shopping tips. I'm gonna give you one really quick. I'm gonna bring a Rick. You guys got to invest. Got to go invest in some good quality, cold pressed, unrefined, organic coconut oil. You can buy a whole tub of it at like a Whole Foods or buy it online from Amazon or something. $15, $12. Usually there's sales. Don't go wasting your money on cheap coconut oil, guys. Refined coconut oil, stripped coconut oil. You can't buy that stuff from like a regular supermarket or the drugstore. You're wasting your time. We had a thread on the forum recently, and a bunch of guys on the forum chimed in. They're like, it doesn't matter what coconut oil you get. It's all the same. No, it's not the same. You get good quality coconut oil. It's got the nutrition in there. It's got the good fats. It's got the MCTs. Okay? That's what you need. That's the whole point. And that's going to be what you use to cook with going forward. You can use it for anything. You can use it. You could throw it on your steak and then throw it on the barbecue. And then when you flip it over, the oil will get trapped in. You use it as a marinade for your chicken, for your turkey. You can use it in your salad. You can use it to cook your eggs. You use it for anything. So that's going to be what you need. And a tub of that stuff is going to last you like a couple months. So invest $12, $13 in that. Number 2, spices. Go to the spice aisle. Black pepper, raw black pepper, Himalayan pink salt, smoked organic paprika. These are the basic spices and additions that you can add to your food that's healthy. Instead of going and wasting money on sauces. We talked about it on previous podcasts. These sauces that you guys are using on your marinades and stuff, look at what's in it. They've got hydrogenated oils. They got sugar. They got all kinds of stuff that don't belong in the body, dyes, all kinds of additives, preservatives. Stuff doesn't belong in the body. So get the spices, the healthy spices, the low FODMAP spices. I'm not a fan of garlic and onions. They're high FODMAP. They're going to upset your stomach. You're going to be burping. You're going to be stinking. You're going to repel people from you. I'm not a fan of those. We get the low FODMAP spices. Lemon, lime, also great to marinate your food in. We talked about that on a previous podcast, but it's worth repeating. So you got to invest in these things, guys. These are very, very important, and that will help you with your food, so you don't have to go to a place and buy your food that's already cooked for you. They cook the food for you. Well, they don't care about what they're putting in the food. They're putting tons of nasty oil on the food. They're putting tons of preservatives on the food. There's no telling where that meat came from. It's the cheapest quality meat. It's probably full of hormones. It's just low quality. So you want to put stuff in your body. You're a Lamborghini, okay? You don't want to put the 87 fuel in your Lamborghini. You want to put the top-notch race car fuel in your body, because that's gonna make you feel good. It's gonna help you stay lean. It's gonna give you energy. It's gonna help you get better results at the gym. Yes, it all connects. Because if you stress your body out by putting the wrong stuff in your body, the wrong oils, all the sugar, refined sugar that we have in the American diet, and even in Europe, and now China, they're all eating sugar now too. Any of you listening to us from Asia, you're getting into the act too, because American companies went to China and they're selling all their sodas and all their sugary stuff over there. And now you're getting in the act. Chinese people actually have as much obesity now as Americans, and type 2 diabetes. Guys, you put garbage in your body, you stress out your body. That's going to affect your gains. Absolutely. Because your body is not going to be able to recover as well. Your body's not going to be able to repair itself as well. So eat clean. That's very, very important, guys. Your fruits, your vegetables, very, very important. Okay? And if you're a meat eater, high quality meats, very, very important. Nuts, nothing wrong with raw nuts here and there. But, guys, what you put in your body is your fuel. So make sure you're putting the right fuel in your body always. How about you, Rick? Talk about being a family man. You're a family man. Talk about your grocery shopping list as a family man.
It's I don't know, man. Grocery shopping is so easy when you know what kind of stuff you're gonna prepare and what you're gonna do. The tough part is having the kid sweets and snacks in the kitchen while you're trying to fast or trying to lose weight. That gets tough, seeing their nice snacks everywhere. A lot of us get distracted and go in and eat and overeat, even when it's not time to really eat. So shopping list, man, just make a good shopping list for your stuff, for what you're going to do. And I think the real magic when you live with people who are not on your grind, but you are on that hard grind, is just finding nice creative ways of making sure that when you cook a big meal, you can set aside a healthy portion for yourself and give everybody else the works. I'll give you an example. The other day, we made some nice big pork chops, nice big salad, ton of rice, fried plantains. Fried plantains because we're South American, so it's a food staple for us. Plantains are, some flat plantains, some passion fruit juice, very sweet, and I put this together for everybody. Now, when it came time to serving the meal, I just had the pork chops on a bed of that salad. My salad didn't have any dressing, and had a big cup of ice water. That was great. Actually, I remember I had about half a cup of kombucha and a cup of water, and just put my pork chops on a bed of salad, and I was done. And then I served everybody else, my kids, mom, sister, served them all the fried plantains, the rice, the all the good stuff, the passion fruit juice, all the good stuff. And that's it. You just do it that way. I'll give you guys another quick story. I go with my kid to Burger King the other day, right? We just stopped by because he loves Burger King, and I don't want to be an asshole and not and push my lifestyle on him this early on. I tell him about health and about keeping your body safe and feeding your body the right things. But at the end of the day, he's 10. If he wants to eat a burger, I'll let him. So we go to Burger King, and he has the full meal with the fries and the soda. I just have a burger and some nuggets and a big jug of seltzer water, just no calories. And what I do is I drink the seltzer water until I'm just completely satisfied. Then I took one little tiny sip of his Coca-Cola, and I had the sweet taste in my mouth for a little while, and I had the satiation of being of drinking all that liquid. That was pretty cool. So you could, do that after you're fully satiated and you drank enough liquid and anything. Just take a sip of something sweet and something you like, and you go. It's just like a weird kind of easy way to fool the brain, and you get satisfaction. The satisfaction that I get from drinking a big thing of seltzer water and then having a tiny sip of Coca-Cola at the end was good, or maybe better than if I'd have just drank the Coca-Cola the whole time. When you think about it, you're making this stuff sweet just for the few seconds. I mean, milliseconds it passes over your tongue, and then once it goes down, it's just doing a bunch of damage just because you want to taste something sweet. You could just get satiated drinking something plain, and then have a tiny sip of something sweet for the aftertaste, and you're good to go, man. I'll tell you, to me, it's satisfying. But then again, I'm not like messed up addicted to sugars. If you're like fucked up addicted to sugars, then yeah, you're gonna feel empty when you have it that way, because your body's not getting all those sugars you're so addicted to. But if you don't have a sugar addiction and you just want to experience kind of that satisfaction, that mouthfeel, that aftertaste, you could just do that. Fill up with healthy shit, then take a little tiny sip as your very end of the meal of that little tasty thing that you're not supposed to have, and you'll be fine. It's satisfying when you do it that way. To me, it has, at least.
Yeah, man, for sure. Yeah, that sums it up, guys. So, yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, end of the day, you gotta cook your own food at home. Going out to restaurants that they got one goal in mind, that's profit. So, I mean, they're gonna put preservatives in their food because they want to keep the food lasting longer. They want you to feel satiated. They want to put all those oils and those salts and all that crap they add to the food. They want you to leave there feeling satiated. A lot of people, they're so addicted to that satiation. If they eat something dry, let's say you made like a dry chicken with nothing on it, just cook a dry chicken with nothing. You're going to be like, man, this tastes horrible. Well, it doesn't. That's actually what we've been eating as human beings for 2 million years. And then now, you got to smother your chicken in gravy and sauce and all this stuff because we've gotten so used to having that taste. So, that's kind of funny. Just no animal on the planet flavors their food or adds something to their food. We're the only ones. So that's kind of ironic, so it's not, I don't think ironic's the right word, but that kind of proves how we've gotten away from our, our proper way of eating as people. But I mean, I don't got any problem just eating a steak or a chicken or anything just by itself. I don't need to add anything to it. So
peppering and salting and some of these spicing came as a way of preserving the meats, preserving the foods. Before we had refrigerators, so a lot of these spices were really became a staple because they help meats last longer and stuff like that.
Yeah, for a few thousand years, definitely. There's definitely you can look that spices were actually one of the most important trading routes because they trade between Asia, Middle East, Europe. So the spices were actually very important. But even before that, Rick, you'd have to go back. I'm talking 2 million years. It was kind of hard to come by. So we depended a lot on, like if you go out in the middle of the woods and try to survive for 3 weeks, okay, like that show Naked and Afraid, you wouldn't have access to spices. You would, the foods you're eating wouldn't have those.
In the Amazon, and I don't know how long they've been doing this for, but in the Amazon, they use achote. And with achote, they flavor their food, they preserve some of the stuff that can perish, and they even put achote on their skin to keep mosquitoes and animals from wanting to bite them. So I mean, spices to one way or another have always been around and used across pretty much every culture. There's always something locally, no matter where in the world you grew up. There's always something locally to help you preserve food, to help you increase your libido and your fertility. There's always something that could work as an antiseptic, that can work as a antibacterial on the skin, or as you take it. Pretty much every culture from, if you take it from, all the way from Europe down to South America to Patagonia, everywhere, there's always been shaman, and there has always been herbs and things from the ground that were utilized to help you change the way your body works. The supplement industry is probably one of the oldest industries in the world, because look, we're still using in capsules and the bottles and the capsules, the stuff that I provide my customers. These herbs have been used by shaman. There was a time where a medicine man from Bulgaria was out picking tribulus to make into concoctions for people that came to see him about their problems. And back in the day, if you were the shaman, the medicine man in the village, people would come into your hut. They'd give an offering, either some food or some collateral, and say, help me out, please. Give me something. Here's what I want. Here's what I need. And so this herbs, spices, salts, things to preserve food. I mean, this has been going on for decades.
Yeah. I'm not denying that, but I think my point, Rick, is more of like Burger King. Bring up Burger King. If you were to put a burger from Burger King right in front of me, I'd probably throw up at this point. Like I don't know how people eat that. It's just, but they eat it because they're addicted to the satiation from that burger. It's not because it's actually a good burger. You want a good burger? Come to my house. I'll make a great burger for you from scratch. You see, that's my point. But some people who are so addicted to Big Macs or a Whopper or whatever, they'll eat my burger and be like, wow, this has no taste to it. But, because they're used to, you see what I'm saying? So my point is, to all you listening, if you're stuck on eating trash food, junk food, you need to get away from it and start cooking on your own and making your own food at home. Now's the best time with the pandemic going on. It's better to avoid restaurants. You don't know where these people who are cooking your food, you don't know where their hands have been. They probably wiped their ass 5 minutes ago, and then they're making your food. So make your own food, and you'll get used to that taste of the food. And after like a month or two, you're going to be like you won't even be able to want to smell a Big Mac or a Whopper. So that's what I'm pretty much getting at, because that's where I'm at. I wouldn't even be able to walk into a Burger King and sit down because I'd be so disgusted by the food. I actually had a girl, an ex, come visit me a couple of years ago, and she brung fast food with her. And I was just like, wow, I couldn't even stand the smell. I was like, I'm sorry, you gotta put it like in the garage or something. Like I can't even smell that shit. So that's where you want to get. If you want to get to where I'm at, you'll be able to just reject the junk food. That's where you want to get. That's the goal.
I'm on the opposite end. I still think all this shit's delicious. I still think chocolate, sweets, junk food. I still think it's all delicious, man. Unfortunately, but I know it's not delicious in a good way. I know all the types of games that they play with the chemistry to make this food incredibly addictive. But I mean, I'll have Taco Bell once in a blue moon. Always sends me to the bathroom. I'll have a Burger King, a number 2 with bacon, once in a blue moon. I still like all these things. I just fucking don't. I just don't indulge in it. I still like the way some of these things taste. I don't like the way I feel afterwards. I will admit, Steve, when I have some of these really bad food, because I'm so used to eating good foods that I prepare myself, the heaviness, I couldn't have that food too late in the afternoon. That have to be the first thing I eat at 4 p.m. If I eat it around 8 or 9, I know I'm going to have a really uncomfortable night of sleep. I'm going to be shifting around in the bed because it's just not going to digest as good as
It's
quickly.
stressing your body out. That's what it does. Even if you're addicted to it, it's still stressing your body out. And if you don't notice that it's stressing your body out, it's still doing it. So just
Mm.
putting that extra stress on your body is going to affect your repair, affect your recovery. So really, you're just saying, "Oh, I go to sleep." During the
Yeah.
night, now you're stressing your body. You're not allowing your body to recover and repair. So it is hurting your
You're just
day.
not as comfortable in the bed. Yeah, you're just not as comfortable in the bed when you're having whenever you wake up, and everybody's had this, you wake up in one of these episodes where like it doesn't matter how you shift on the bed, you're uncomfortable, you get on your back, you get on your side, and you're just always uncomfortable. You're having a digestive issue. If you were awake walking around, you'd have a stomach ache right now. But you're laying down, so all you feel is you wake up and you just can't get comfortable in the bed properly in any position you get on. And we've all that had this episodes. That's just your body going through some fucked up digestion at nighttime. That's what happens. I just don't do it because shit, looking at myself in the mirror every day and being happy with the way that I look. I mean, you always have goals, you know, you always want more of something, but at least I'm not ashamed like I am when I'm overweight, when I look like shit. So that alone is just the motivation to just don't give a fuck about eating. I don't care about a little bit of mouthfeel. That just it goes away very quickly. But the fat, the lifestyle, carrying all this weight around, smelling like this, being sweaty like that, that's an everyday thing. That's not as momentary as passing as this one meal. And so I just don't do it, even though I could very well indulge in all these things and be satiated and short term happy over it. Uh, I'm on the other spectrum, Steve, where I can still eat all this stuff, where I still once in a while will crave some of these things. It just doesn't take over me. It never makes me throw my fitness goals and my goals out the window because I just can't stay away from EQDs. It's like, fuck that. I'll stay away from junk food. Don't care. Do it all day long. No problem. But look, when I smell the burger, when I bite the burger, when I chew the burger, I enjoy the fuck out of it because yeah, I do. So just that you know, my life would be easier if I got to your to where you're at, Steve, which is base. But see, you don't like caffeine either. It's just kind of dude you are. You're not into caffeine. You're not
Dude, I
into
had
alcohol.
caffeine. Dude, listen to this. I had caffeine like a week ago. Because I had like I didn't really sleep very much. I've been working like my ass off lately. So I woke up really early. I had to do a lot of writing and stuff. And man, I had some caffeine, bro. I was like, my heart was racing, man, for half the day. So that's another one, caffeine. We'll have to talk about that one on a future episode. But when you're not drinking caffeine every day like I am, and then you have caffeine, holy shit, your heart just fucking goes crazy. But you're so hooked on it, so addicted to it that you can drink caffeine every day and you don't have that. So that tells you how much caffeine over time really, really like floods your.
I might drink 1 to 2 liters of coffee a day, Monday through Friday. Saturday and Sunday I take off. Holidays I take off. But Monday through Friday, I'll drink 1 liter, 2 liters of caffeine of coffee. Nice strong coffee a day. No issues
But
with that.
it didn't even wake me up, man. It just raced my heart, right? And it gave me a headache. It didn't even like wake me up, didn't even make me feel good. So I guess I'm lucky, man. Like if it made me feel good and gave me that dopamine rush, like what happens with you, what happens to other guys who are addicted to it, then man, maybe I would get addicted to it too. But because it gives me a headache and it races my heart rate, I don't like that, man. I don't like that feeling of I like to have my heart rate.
If you took a tiny bit less, I think you'd be fine.
Right, but I mean, it's not making me feel good. It's not making me, feel energetic. It's killing my energy. So to me, it doesn't do it. So I guess I'm lucky. Same thing with alcohol. If I drink alcohol, I just feel like shit afterwards. I just don't want it. So, it's just I don't know, man. It's one of those things where I just I can remember drinking beer and just I'm like, man, this shit tastes like ass. Like I believe people actually drink this. So it's one of those things, man. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm lucky in that regard, but if you stay away from stuff, you won't want it. Like that's my point. And my second point, we'll finish up, is you don't have to go and eat a burger at Burger King or McDonald's to enjoy it, to make it taste good. I guarantee you, if you tasted my burger, you would be like, wow, this actually tastes good. And then afterwards, you won't feel like shit. Mexican food Instead of going to Taco Bell, I can make you Mexican food. I can make you anything. I can make you quesadillas. I can make you tacos, anything, fajitas, and you'll eat my fajitas, and you won't feel like shit afterwards, like you would from Taco Bell. So that's my point. That's my point.
I'll diddle you on that. I like cooking. I cook incredible food. If you guys follow me, you'll see some of my recipes on social. I cook incredible too, but there is something chemically wrong with some of this fast food. And when I indulge in a cheat meal with fast food, I'm getting something extra that it's not cooked at home, that bad food. There is an addictive aspect to the meats and the cheeses that they use. There's gotta be, because when I want a cheat meal, I find myself thinking about, hey, how about some fucking Burger King today? What about a big fucking Taco Bell box? I cut calories down. I'm refeeding. Just, I got 2 hard workouts planned, so I can have my cheat meal now. How about a big fucking box of taco? Now I can make my own tacos. I can buy the shell. Shit, I can even make my own shells. Deep fry them in coconut oil. Just use a little metal something to make a little metal frame so they fold. I know how to do all of that, and I could do it. But there is just something about the chemistry and all the shit they put in that food that just touches something inside of your brain and makes you want it. That Taco Bell food, I know it's going to send me to the bathroom. I know I'm going to have a nice long shit after I take Taco Bell food, because there's something not great about that food. But there is a chemical aspect you're getting to it. There is a druggy kind of a addictive kind of nasty aspect.
It's a dopamine rush.
Some of the flavoring, some of the smoky flavoring, they put so much weird fucking flavoring things in there to make it taste that way, to make it appeal that way, to preserve it. That there is an addiction. In fact, Chinese food too. There is an addictive factor to some of these things, because again, I find myself once in a blue moon thinking, next cheat meal, I need to have me some fucking Burger King.
When I used to be in my early 20s, I used to go to McDonald's, and I'd get the Big Mac meal, and I'd eat that Big Mac. The first taste, it'd be like, wow, this tastes good. Then by the end of the Big Mac, I was like, wow, this shit is nasty. I can't believe I just ate this. And I started thinking, in my head,
the smell of the food is incredible.
But I start thinking in my head, these people who work in there, where was their hand touching my food? I start thinking about that, and I was like, oh, I can't eat, and I just want to throw it back up. So I never found that food to be appealing, man. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm just different. I think did you grow up eating this stuff? Did you grow up eating it?
Well, growing up, I used to work a couple of jobs, so I didn't really have time to prep my own food.
Okay.
It really wasn't.
That might be why, yeah, because I didn't grow up eating much fast food. I didn't grow up.
I used to be one of these kids, man. I had day job, night job. During the summer, when I wasn't summer, I had wrestling, school, work. So just popping into a drive-through and getting something that's calorie dense, so I can get to my day, was easy. And when you're younger, as long as you're training, working out, you look ripped, even if you eat trash. So it was when I was young, during the time where I didn't know how to cook as well as I do now. I didn't have time to cook. I'd be just getting out of one place, going into another, eating in my car, just that type of grind is where I found the place for this fast food, because I was able to get plentiful, cheap calories that I needed. I mean, I wasn't even worried about getting fat. When I was in late teens, early 20s. I was really worried about just getting enough calories to get through the day. So stopping and getting a Burger King burger and fries with a big jug of Coke, when that might have been the only thing I was able to get in my system for 8 hours, because of just the grind of going from one job to the next. That's kind of where fast food started to bring. And this is me lifting weights, doing steroids sometimes. It's still drinking my protein shakes a ton, but I just need calories, especially, dude, when I train mixed martial arts, when I'm steady going into dojo, oh man, you need those calories. I'm not sitting there thinking like, oh man, is this good for me or not? It's like, fuck, I need 1,000 fucking calories right now because I feel depleted. I feel lightheaded. My muscles are my muscles. I'm not gonna if I don't have 1,000 calories right now between now and before going to bed. I know I'm going to wake up more sore tomorrow. I'm going to wake up more tired tomorrow. I'm going to feel like shit. So yeah, it's where fast food found a place for me. It's just me needing a ton of calories to work and train and lift, while not being able to be near a kitchen or not having even the money, because as I got older and I achieved some success and I was able to pay more for my food, then I'd go into deli, New York style delis, and I'd go in and I'd have clubs, or I'd have a big sandwich, or I'd have healthier choices as as I grew up in the world, and I was able to pay a little bit more for my fast food, for my food that I prepared foods. But very early on as a child, man, as a kid, bro, they used to have a little scratch off. You get a free fries with each meal. I'd find the coupons, and I was just happy to get calories that I needed cheap. And this is where I trained myself to eat fast food.
Yeah, they also advertise, they're in cartoons. They target mostly like minority communities and stuff. So like the poor, like a lot of poor areas and stuff like that on purpose. They know what they're doing. It's marketing. These corporations know what they're doing, buddy. All right,
And
guys.
I hate to say, it, but look, it's not the healthiest food. It does have some weird addictive qualities to it, I have to admit. But if you talk about cheap calories for today, maybe not long term, not a good plan. We need cheap fucking calories today just to keep you up and keep you going. Um, Fat. I mean, how many calories do you get just in a big Coke? I mean, several hundred. If you if what you need is cheap sustenance, cheap fast sustenance, just to keep you going, it's there. It'll do the job. It did
Yeah.
for me.
I don't believe in the whole calorie thing. You know me by now. I think a big soda like that, even if it had 300 calories, that's still causing tremendous
Oh yeah,
damage,
yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean,
And
it's
again,
spiking your insulin levels so high, and then it's not going to come down. So it does way
I'm
more
talking I'm
damage
talking
than
the
just calories. Yeah.
in the context of working two jobs, training, like hard training,
Yeah.
mixed martial arts, wrestling, in the context of that, and you're not very looking in the mirror for aesthetics, you're thinking about performing somewhat and staying up, it
Yeah.
found a place. And obviously look, nowadays I still work long hours, but now I have access to a kitchen most of the time. I still when I do indulge in food outside, I'll go to the New York style deli. I'll go to the good places and get the good high quality foods that I want. I'll get the avocado wraps with the fresh with the wild caught salmon. Like I'll do the I got I have I'm an older guy. I have the funds now to feed myself better. So yeah, it changes. It
What I
changes.
used to do and maybe this will help some of the teenagers listening. What I used to do too, especially in high school, was I'd boil eggs. It'd take about 10 minutes to boil eggs in the morning. I boil 2 eggs, pack them in my book bag, and take them to school with me. And then some point, during first, second period, I crack open the egg and eat it. A lot of people in class
Yeah,
hated
the
me.
smell.
Yeah,
Had
they'd
them
always look
my
around.
car. Yeah.
They think I'm like farting or something, but look, that's what I would do, man. I mean, I'd eat a couple eggs. I'd take that versus eating garbage. So, but yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. So, all right, guys. Yes, we was 353 Q&A. We'll have another Q&A next week. Keep the questions coming. For Stevesmi and Rick, Evolutionary Radio. Enjoy it. Have a good one. Have a Whopper on me, Rick.
Have a good one, Steve. Have a good one, guys.
Guys, this is a required legal disclaimer. We are only sharing our experience from years of steroid use. We are not doctors, and none of what we say should be regarded as medical advice. Always check with your doctor before taking any drugs or starting any training program.